Welcome, listeners. Tonight, we're going to explore something that touches the heart of every family: the art of bringing two lives, two histories, and two families together under one roof. If you've ever wondered how to navigate the delicate waters of blended families, how to create a home where a new love flourishes without erasing the past, then stay with me. Over the next 2.5 hours, we'll meet real characters, individuals just like you, each learning, struggling, and discovering the paths to connection, understanding, and harmony. By the end, you'll not only witness their journeys, but take away insights to cultivate empathy, patience, and joy in your own blended family journey. Let's begin with Emma, a woman stepping into a world where love comes with responsibility, history, and hope. Emma had always imagined love as a quiet corner of the world, just her and Jake, laughter echoing across cozy evenings. But reality had its own rhythm. When she first walked into Jake's house, she wasn't just entering a home, she was stepping into history, memories, and patterns that belonged to his children. Mia and Liam, the air smelled of cinnamon and pine, the remnants of the Christmas season lingering. But the warmth she expected didn't reach her immediately. Mia, 11, had folded her arms, eyes skeptical. Liam, 8, hovered near the couch, a small fortress of stuffed animals guarding his comfort zone. Emma took a deep breath. She reminded herself this wasn't about winning anyone over immediately. It was about making room. "Hi, Mia. Hi, Liam. I brought your favorite cookies," she said softly, placing the tray on the coffee table. Silence, then a faint smile from Liam. That was all she needed to keep going. This was step one, learning to observe, respect, and gently introduce herself without erasing the bonds they already held. Over the next weeks, Emma discovered that blending families wasn't a straight line. It was a dance, each step measured, each movement intentional. She learned which topics were safe, which traditions mattered, and most importantly, which spaces were sacred. Jake watched from the kitchen doorway, noticing the quiet courage in Emma's eyes. He understood the success of their love wouldn't be measured in grand gestures, but in the small daily acts of connection. That evening, over dinner, Emma asked the children about their favorite holiday memories. Mia hesitated, then spoke about baking with her mom last Christmas. Emma listened, validating without comparison. Liam chimed in about sledding with his cousins. Emma laughed genuinely, encouraging shared joy. The room shifted slightly. The tension softened. She realized the first rule of blended families: acknowledge the past, then gently weave yourself into it. Welcome, listeners. Tonight, we're exploring something that touches the heart of every family: the art of bringing two lives, two histories, and two families together under one roof. If you've ever wondered how to navigate the delicate waters of blended families, how to create a home where a new love flourishes without erasing the past, then stay with me. Over the next 2.5 hours, we'll meet real characters, individuals just like you, each learning, struggling, and discovering the paths to connection, understanding, and harmony. By the end, you'll not only witness their journeys, but take away insights to cultivate empathy, patience, and joy in your own blended family journey. Let's begin with Emma, a woman stepping into a world where love comes with responsibility, history, and hope. Emma had always imagined love as a quiet corner of the world, just her and Jake, laughter echoing across cozy evenings. But reality had its own rhythm. When she first walked into Jake's house, she wasn't just entering a home, she was stepping into history, memories, and patterns that belonged to his children. Mia and Liam, the air smelled of cinnamon and pine, the remnants of the Christmas season lingering. But the warmth she expected didn't reach her immediately. Mia, 11, had folded her arms, eyes skeptical. Liam, 8, hovered near the couch, a small fortress of stuffed animals guarding his comfort zone. Emma took a deep breath. She reminded herself this wasn't about winning anyone over immediately. It was about making room. "Hi, Mia. Hi, Liam. I brought your favorite cookies," she said softly. Placing the tray on the coffee table, silence, then a faint smile from Liam. That was all she needed to keep going. This was step one, learning to observe, respect, and gently introduce herself without erasing the bonds they already held. Jake watched from the kitchen doorway, noticing the quiet courage in Emma's eyes. He understood that the success of their love wouldn't be measured in grand gestures, but in the small, daily acts of connection. That evening, over dinner, Emma asked the children about their favorite holiday memories. Mia hesitated, then spoke about baking with her mom last Christmas. Emma listened, validating without comparison. Liam chimed in about sledding with his cousins. Emma laughed genuinely, encouraging shared joy. The room shifted slightly. The tension softened. She realized the first rule of blended families: acknowledge the past, then gently weave yourself into it. Days became weeks. Small victories accumulated. A hug when no one expected it, a shared joke at dinner, a collaborative homework session. Emma journaled every evening, noting what worked and what backfired. She noticed patterns. Mia responded to quiet encouragement. Liam needed consistent attention. Jake also learned that stepping back wasn't indifference. It was giving Emma the space to grow naturally with the children without forcing affection. Together, they discovered that love in blended families requires a balance of patience and courage, a willingness to lean into discomfort while holding a vision of togetherness. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the living room, dust motes dancing in the warm air. Emma stirred slowly, savoring the rare quiet before the chaos of breakfast. But even in this calm, she could feel the undercurrent, subtle, unspoken tension. Mia lingered at the table, scrolling through her tablet, eyes guarded. Liam darted between rooms, a ball bouncing behind him. Emma prepared breakfast with deliberate calm, remembering the first rule: presence without pressure. "I made pancakes," she said softly, setting a plate down. Liam's eyes lit up. Mia didn't react immediately. That was okay. Emma knew trust was a process, not a moment. By midweek, Emma started noticing patterns. Mia preferred conversation about school projects, art, and music, areas where Emma could offer guidance without feeling intrusive. Liam needed movement and games, spaces where Emma could participate actively rather than dominate. That evening, Emma joined them for a board game. She didn't try to win. She laughed, cheered, and occasionally lost on purpose. Jake observed quietly from the sofa, proud and relieved. This is how families grow, he thought. Not in leaps, but in shared small moments. But it wasn't all harmony. One afternoon, Mia refused to go to piano practice. Liam knocked over a cup in frustration. Jake was late from work. Tension built, almost imperceptibly, like cracks in a delicate glass sculpture. Emma felt it like a storm in her chest. She wanted to fix it all immediately, but she remembered the second rule: step back to understand before reacting. "Let's take 5, she suggested, soft voice, calm presence. The kids hesitated. They were used to chaos resolving through argument, not patience. Slowly, they regrouped. That evening, a quiet conversation by the fireplace marked their first breakthrough, a shared understanding without conflict. Sometimes, she thought, the hardest victories are invisible dot with Christmas decorations still up from the previous weeks. Emma realized that blending families meant honoring traditions while creating new ones. She asked Mia to choose one favorite tradition from her mother's home. Mia selected baking gingerbread cookies. Liam wanted to decorate the tree with handmade ornaments. Together, they turned the kitchen into a warm, fragrant chaos of flour, dough, and laughter. Emma laughed genuinely, her heart swelling. She wasn't replacing the past. She was adding herself to the tapestry of their memories. That night, as they cleaned up the cookie crumbs, Mia hugged Emma tightly. "Thanks for listening," she whispered. Liam smiled shyly, holding up his ornament. Jake entered the kitchen, eyes moist. He didn't say a word. No words were needed. This quiet, authentic connection was progress. Asterisk the days passed, each one weaving lessons in patience and understanding. Emma began to notice subtle changes, a small smile from Mia as they worked together on homework, Liam choosing to sit closer during story time, even Jake taking the time to ask about Emma's day in a way that felt genuine. These were the small victories, the quiet acknowledgments that told her that integration wasn't a single moment, but a series of tender steps. Yet, the journey was not without its turbulence. One evening, during a family game, a disagreement erupted over rules. Mia's voice rose, sharp with frustration, while Liam's tears quickly followed. Emma's first instinct was to intervene, to smooth over the conflict, but she paused. She remembered the lessons of patience and observation, realizing that sometimes the best support came not from solving problems for the children, but from guiding them to resolve issues themselves. "Take a deep breath," Emma suggested, her voice soft, steady. "Let's think about what's fair for everyone." The children looked at her, hesitating, then slowly mirrored her calm. Jake, standing nearby, exhaled quietly, understanding that these moments of tension were the groundwork for lasting trust. The room, once chaotic, gradually softened. Laughter returned. Over the following weeks, Emma introduced small new rituals, Sunday pancake mornings, bedtime stories where each child shared a moment from their week, and evening walks around the neighborhood to admire the holiday lights. These routines weren't grand gestures, but they built a shared rhythm, a sense of belonging for everyone. Mia started to open up about her art projects, even asking Emma for help mixing colors and creating designs. Liam began sharing his imaginative stories, including Emma in his adventures rather than treating her as an outsider. However, there were still challenges. Old habits and past attachments surfaced in unexpected ways. Mia occasionally withdrew, retreating to her room with quiet scowls. Liam sometimes reacted impulsively, testing boundaries to see if Emma would remain consistent. Each episode was a test, not of authority, but of resilience, empathy, and mutual respect. Emma learned that blended families thrived not on perfection, but on the ability to navigate imperfection together. One evening, as snow fell gently outside, the family gathered around the fireplace. Emma had prepared hot chocolate, the aroma mingling with the scent of pine from the small tree in the corner. "I want to share something with you all," she said softly. "I know this family has a history, and I'm not here to replace anyone. I just want to be part of it, to make our home a place where everyone feels seen and valued." Mia looked at her, eyes glistening. Liam hugged her tightly, whispering, "I like when you read us stories." Jake's hand found Emma's, a silent acknowledgement that the partnership between them extended beyond love for each other to the care of the entire household. In that moment, the fragile threads of connection strengthened into something tangible, a shared understanding that family was more than blood or history. It was commitment, patience, and the courage to love through complexity. Emma reflected quietly that night on the delicate balance required to navigate a blended family. She understood now that love wasn't about erasing past bonds, but honoring them while creating room for new connections. She saw that every smile, every laugh, every act of kindness was a brick in the foundation of cohesion. These moments, small and cumulative, were the heartbeat of a family learning to exist together. harmoniously yet authentically. As the weeks progressed toward the holidays, Emma's relationship with Mia and Liam deepened. Shared experiences, decorating the house, baking cookies, reading stories, and even resolving small disputes became milestones of progress. Emma realized that the undercurrent of tension was not something to fight, but to guide, shaping each challenge into a learning opportunity. Trust was being built not in leaps, but in steady, deliberate steps, visible in the subtle exchanges that previously would have gone unnoticed. One crisp winter evening, Emma and Jake watched the children sledding down the snowy hill outside their home. Mia laughed, a sound lighter than Emma had heard in weeks, and Liam's excited shouts echoed across the yard. Emma and Jake exchanged a glance, a quiet acknowledgement of the progress they had made. It wasn't perfect. They knew there would be setbacks, moments of frustration, and days of exhaustion. But the foundation was strong. Patience, empathy, and shared commitment had begun to weave the disparate threads of the family into something cohesive. That night, as the children drifted off to sleep, Emma reflected on the lessons learned. She understood that blended families required not only love, but awareness, active listening, and the courage to face uncomfortable emotions. Every small victory was a step toward harmony, every challenge an opportunity for growth. And in the quiet of the house, illuminated by the soft glow of holiday lights, Emma felt the quiet reassurance that love, even when complicated, could create a home where everyone felt seen, valued, and cherished. Winter mornings had become a rhythm of small joys and subtle victories. Emma had begun to feel the threads of connection strengthening, though challenges still surfaced. One particular evening highlighted both the fragility and resilience of their blended family. A planned holiday dinner with extended family had the potential to unravel weeks of careful progress. Mia had grown anxious, her previous skepticism bubbling to the surface, while Liam's excitement teetered between playful anticipation and clingy dependence. Emma felt the familiar tension tighten in her chest, but this time she met it with quiet confidence. "I know this can feel overwhelming," Emma said softly to the children as they sat at the table, wrapping small presents for family. "But tonight we're a team. We can support each other, share the joy, and make everyone feel welcome." Her voice carried no judgment, only reassurance. Mia glanced up, hesitant but nodded. Liam beamed. Jake squeezed Emma's hand in silent support. As the evening unfolded, minor incidents arose. A spilled drink, a misunderstood comment. Yet Emma guided each moment with patience, modeling empathy rather than reprimand. Mia began to articulate her feelings instead of retreating. Liam learned to express excitement without overwhelming others. Emma realized that true integration was not about perfection, but about creating safe spaces where feelings could exist without judgment. Later, after the guests had left, the family gathered by the fireplace. Mia held a handmade card she had been too shy to show earlier. I wanted to say thank you," she whispered. Liam added his own messy, heartfelt drawing. Emma felt a lump in her throat, overwhelmed by the significance of these gestures. They weren't just small acts of appreciation, they were markers of trust earned and relationships deepened. Over the following weeks, Emma and Jake introduced new family traditions, blending old and new. Sunday brunch became a ritual of shared responsibility. Everyone contributed a dish, shared a story, or led a small activity. The children began taking pride in these moments, understanding that their input was valued. Emma found joy in balancing guidance with freedom, offering support without intrusion. Slowly, the children began to view her not as an outsider, but as a partner in creating memories, a figure who respected the past while nurturing the present. Yet, growth always comes with moments of testing. One evening, during a snowstorm, a disagreement escalated over plans for a winter trip. Mia's voice rose, frustration clear in every word. Liam's protests turned into tears. Emma felt the old pangs of anxiety, the instinct to step in immediately. But she paused, breathing deeply, remembering that resilience was built through practice, not perfection. "Let's sit together and plan this," she said calmly. "We can find a solution that works for everyone." The discussion unfolded slowly, thoughtfully. Compromises were reached. Ideas were shared. Laughter returned, tentative at first, then genuine. Jake watched in quiet admiration as Emma navigated the delicate balance of authority, empathy, and patience. It was in these moments, messy, real, and unpredictable, that the family began to truly gel. They learned to communicate, negotiate, and compromise, all while keeping mutual respect at the center dot as the holidays approached. The family embarked on a series of outings that would become memorable milestones, decorating the neighborhood for charity, volunteering at the local shelter, and attending festive community events. Mia and Liam began to involve Emma in their plans, seeking her advice on costumes, gift ideas, and activities. These gestures, small as they seemed, were proof that acceptance was no longer just tentative. It was growing into genuine inclusion. One crisp evening, as the snow fell softly on the ground, Emma watched the children sled down the hill, their laughter echoing through the yard. Mia paused mid-run, shouting over her shoulder, "Emma, look what I made." She had built a small snow fort, carefully decorated with sticks and pine cones. Liam added his own creation beside it, proudly presenting the pair to her. Emma knelt down, eyes glistening, and hugged them both. Jake joined, wrapping his arms around the three of them. In that moment, Emma felt the profound truth of her journey. Family is not defined by history alone, but by the commitment to grow together, even in imperfection. That night, as they settled by the fireplace, the warmth of the room mirrored the warmth Emma felt in her heart. She reflected on the weeks past, the small breakthroughs, the challenges faced, the trust built incrementally. She understood that the blended family she had once approached with hesitation was now a living, breathing unit held together not by convenience, but by deliberate love, respect, and care. Even in quiet reflection, Emma recognized that the work was ongoing. There would always be moments of tension, uncertainty, and testing. But with patience, empathy, and the courage to navigate discomfort, she had witnessed firsthand how new love could coexist with old bonds, how memories could be honored while new ones were forged, and how a family could thrive when every member felt seen, valued, and heard Dot as snow fell outside the window. Emma closed her eyes for a moment, letting the serenity of the night settle over her. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new laughter, perhaps even small frustrations. But tonight, in this shared warmth, she felt the quiet assurance that love, when approached with intention, patience, and empathy, could create a home where all could belong. The holidays had arrived in full, their presence marked by twinkling lights, the scent of pine, and the quiet anticipation that comes with family gatherings. Emma moved through the house with calm confidence, carrying a tray of cookies, pausing to brush Liam's hair and adjust Mia's scarf. She had learned the rhythms of this household, the subtle cues of emotion, and the spaces where love needed gentle reinforcement. That morning, the children bounded down the stairs, eyes bright with excitement. "Emma, come see what we made," Liam shouted, leading her to the living room. There, Mia and Liam had crafted a miniature holiday village, complete with tiny snowmen, paper lights, and carefully arranged figurines. Emma knelt beside them, awestruck, her heart swelling with warmth. She realized that acceptance was no longer tentative. It was earned and reciprocated, a living testament to patience, empathy, and consistent care. Jake joined them, carrying the camera to capture the moment. "This will be our memory," he said softly, smiling. Emma glanced at him, feeling a quiet gratitude. He had trusted her, given her space to grow with the children, and navigated his own role as partner and father with quiet humility. Together, they had created a space where love, old and new, could coexist harmoniously. As the day unfolded, the family engaged in cherished traditions. Baking, decorating, and storytelling flowed seamlessly, each activity infused with laughter and genuine connection. Even small conflicts, like a toppled cookie or misplaced ornament, were met with calm guidance and problem-solving rather than frustration. The children learned that mistakes could exist without eroding trust, that their voices were heard, and that their contributions mattered. Emma, in turn, saw her efforts reflected in their smiles, their willingness to share, and their emerging sense of belonging. Later, the family ventured outdoors for a walk through freshly fallen snow. The crisp air carried the sound of crunching footsteps and playful shouts. Mia led the way, showing Emma the tracks she had made, while Liam demonstrated a new snowball technique. Jake followed behind, quietly observing the harmony they had cultivated. Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment. This was the moment she had envisioned, not as a perfect fairy tale, but as a real, lived experience where patience and empathy had transformed potential chaos into connection. By evening, they returned home to the glow of the fireplace. Hot cocoa warmed their hands, and Emma suggested a quiet reflection. "Let's each share something we're grateful for this year," she said softly. Mia began, speaking of new experiences and the feeling of being understood. Liam shared a funny story about a class project, laughing at his own mishaps. Jake expressed his gratitude for their collective growth, for the love that had deepened through challenges. Finally, Emma spoke, acknowledging the lessons learned, the patience required, and the love that had woven them all together. The room was quiet for a moment, filled with a gentle hum of contentment. Emma realized that the journey was ongoing, that challenges would continue, but the foundation was solid. Love had been deliberately nurtured, trust had been built through consistent actions, and the family had begun to thrive as a cohesive unit. The holidays, once a potential source of stress and division, had become a canvas for connection, joy, and mutual respect. As the children fell asleep, exhausted but happy, Emma and Jake sat together by the window, watching the snow fall silently. "We did it," Jake whispered, his voice soft with relief and pride. Emma nodded, feeling a quiet serenity. They had navigated the delicate balance of blending families, integrating new love while honoring past bonds, and ensuring that everyone felt seen, valued, and cherished. In the stillness of the night, Emma reflected on the lessons of the past months. She understood that success in a blended family was not measured in perfection, grand gestures, or dramatic events. It was measured in the quiet victories, the everyday acts of kindness, the willingness to listen, adapt, and love without reservation. It was about making space for one another, respecting history while creating new memories, and committing to a shared future filled with empathy and understanding. As snow continued to blanket the world outside, Emma whispered a soft promise to herself and to her family that they would continue to grow together, face challenges with courage, and cherish every small, meaningful moment. And in that promise, she found peace, fulfillment, and the deep, abiding joy of a family united, resilient, and loved. The house was quiet now, the children asleep, their breathing steady, peaceful. Emma sat by the window, gazing out at the snow-covered yard, recalling the journey that had brought them here. Months ago, entering this blended family had felt like stepping into a storm, unpredictable, challenging, and overwhelming. But through patience, empathy, and consistent care, that storm had softened into something beautiful, something enduring, She thought of Mia, once hesitant and guarded, now smiling freely, sharing her ideas, her art, her heart. She thought of Liam, once reactive and impulsive, now confident, playful, and willing to include her in his adventures. And she thought of Jake, who had grown alongside her, learning to balance his love for his children with the respect and support Emma needed to thrive. Together, they had created a home where past histories were honored, new bonds were nurtured, and every member felt seen, valued, and cherished. Emma reflected on the lessons learned. Love, she realized, was not about erasing past connections or forcing perfection. It was about presence, patience, and intentional acts of care. Every smile, every laugh, every small gesture had been a brick in the foundation of their cohesion. Challenges would continue to arise. Disagreements would flare, and emotions would run high. But the family now had a shared understanding, a resilience forged in trust, communication, and mutual respect. In this quiet moment, Emma whispered a promise to herself to continue honoring the past while building the future, to remain patient during moments of tension, and to cherish the small victories that made a house a home. She knew that blended families, like any family, were living systems, evolving, growing, and learning together. And with love, intention, and empathy, they could face any storm, celebrate any joy, and share every moment as a cohesive, connected unit. Jake joined her by the window, offering a gentle smile. "We've come a long way," he said softly. Emma nodded. "Yes, and the journey continues." Outside, snowflakes drifted silently, landing softly on the ground. A reminder that even the coldest, harshest winters eventually gave way to calm, beauty, and light. As the night deepened, Emma closed her eyes for a moment, feeling gratitude wash over her. Gratitude for the children, for Jake, for herself, and for the love that had grown in the spaces they had nurtured together. This was the quiet victory of a blended family, not a perfect story. Not a flawless narrative, but a real living, breathing testament to patience, courage, and enduring love, and in the warmth of the home and the soft glow of the holiday lights, Emma felt the truth she had always sought, that families could evolve, love could grow, and hearts could expand to include both the past and the present, weaving together a future that was strong, resilient, and full of hope. The house was quiet now, the children asleep, their breathing even and calm. Emma sat by the window, gazing out at the snow-covered yard, reflecting on the journey that had brought them here. Months ago, stepping into this blended family had felt overwhelming, like walking into a storm she could not control. But over time, patience, empathy, and understanding had transformed uncertainty into harmony, tension into connection. She thought of Mia, once guarded and cautious, now laughing freely, sharing her art, her thoughts, and even the smallest details of her day. She thought of Liam, who had once tested boundaries and retreated when emotions ran high, now willing to include her in his adventures, trusting her presence. And she thought of Jake, whose steady support and love had guided them all, balancing his role as father and partner with care and patience. Together, they had created a home where history was honored, new bonds were nurtured, and everyone felt seen, valued, and heard. Emma reflected quietly on the lessons learned. Love, she realized, was not about perfection or erasing the past. It was about presence, intentional care, and listening deeply. Every smile, every laugh, every small act of kindness had been a brick in the foundation of their family. Challenges would continue, disagreements, frustrations, and miscommunications would surface, but the resilience they had built together could withstand the storms. In that quiet night, Emma whispered a promise to herself to continue honoring the past while nurturing the present, to respond to conflict with patience rather than haste, and to celebrate every small victory that brought them closer. She knew that a blended family was not static. It evolved, grew, and learned together. With love and empathy, they could face any challenge, embrace every joy, and strengthen their bond over time. Jake joined her at the window, offering a soft smile. "We've come so far," he said. Emma nodded. "Yes, and the journey continues." Outside, snowflakes drifted silently, covering the world in a soft blanket of calm. The cold winter air carried a quiet promise that even in life's hardest seasons, warmth, connection, and love could prevail. As the night deepened, Emma closed her eyes and felt a profound gratitude wash over her. Gratitude for the children, for Jake, for herself, and for the love that had grown in spaces nurtured with care. This was the quiet victory of a blended family, not a perfect story, not a flawless journey, but a real, living, breathing testament to patience, courage, and enduring love. And in the glow of the fireplace, amidst the soft lights of the home, Emma felt the truth she had always sought. Families could evolve, love could expand, and hearts could embrace both past and present. Together, they had woven a future that was strong, resilient, and full of hope. Morning light filtered through the curtains, casting a gentle glow across the living room. Emma rose quietly, careful not to wake Mia and Liam. She carried a cup of tea to the window and watched the world outside, snow glistening under the winter sun. In the stillness, she reflected on the journey of the past months, the challenges, the breakthroughs, and the moments of quiet grace that had woven their family together. She thought of the small lessons that had made the biggest difference. Patience, she realized, was more than waiting. It was understanding the pace at which trust and love could grow. Empathy was not just listening, but truly feeling the emotions of others and responding with care. And courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to face discomfort, to navigate conflict, and to keep love as the guiding principle. Emma smiled softly, recalling moments that once felt impossible, reading bedtime stories without resistance, sharing holiday traditions that blended past and present, and watching Mia and Liam laugh together with her included. Jake joined her silently, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "It's remarkable, isn't it?" he whispered. "How far we've come." Emma nodded. "Yes, and it's just the beginning." She realized that blended families are not a destination, but a continuous journey. There would always be new challenges, changing dynamics, growing children, new experiences, but the foundation they had built could support whatever came next. Love, intentional effort, and mutual respect would guide them. She thought about the children's laughter echoing through the house, the warmth of shared meals, the quiet moments of reflection, and even the conflicts that had taught them resilience. Every moment, joyful or difficult, had been a thread in the tapestry of their family. Emma understood that success wasn't measured in perfection, but in connection, in feeling seen, heard, and valued every single day. Later that day, the family gathered for a walk through the neighborhood. The children ran ahead, building snow forts and laughing freely, while Emma and Jake walked behind, hands intertwined, sharing quiet conversation and gratitude. They watched the world through a lens of patience and hope, understanding that their blended family, like the seasons, would continue to evolve, growing stronger, deeper, and more resilient with time. As the sun dipped low, casting golden light across the snow, Emma paused, taking in the scene. She whispered a promise, both to herself and to her family, to continue nurturing love, fostering understanding, and embracing each day with intention and care. This was the ultimate lesson of blending families, that love is a practice, a choice, and a commitment. And when approached with empathy and courage, it can create a home filled with warmth, trust, and belonging. And so, as the evening settled, Emma, Jake, Mia, and Liam returned home, carrying with them the quiet assurance that together they could face any challenge, celebrate every joy, and build a future rich with connection, love, and hope. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Emma noticed how natural the family's rhythms had become. Mornings no longer carried the subtle tension of uncertainty. Breakfasts were filled with laughter, lively conversation, and shared stories. Even small disagreements were met with patience, compromise, and understanding. The children, once hesitant and cautious, now welcomed Emma's presence as part of their everyday life. Emma reflected on how much they had all grown. She realized that blending families was not just about merging households. It was about creating a shared vision for the future, one built on trust, love, and respect. Each small decision, from baking cookies to setting boundaries, had contributed to a stronger, more cohesive unit. Every step, no matter how challenging, had been worth it. Jake noticed the same transformation. He marveled at Mia's confidence and willingness to share her feelings openly, at Liam's joyful exuberance, and at the ease with which Emma had become an integral part of their lives. Together, they had learned that love in a blended family required continuous effort, listening, adapting, and celebrating one another's unique qualities. One afternoon, Emma gathered the children for a special activity. "Let's think about what we want our family to look like in the future," she said. Mia and Liam eagerly contributed ideas, weekend adventures, holiday traditions, and simple moments like shared storytelling or movie nights. Emma listened, smiling, and helped them create a family vision board, a tangible representation of their hopes and aspirations. Through this exercise, Emma realized that blended families thrive when every member feels a sense of ownership, contribution, and belonging. The children weren't just participants. They were co-creators of their family's journey. Jake and Emma had provided guidance, love, and support. But the real magic came from shared imagination, collaboration, and mutual respect. As evening fell, the family sat together by the fireplace, the warm glow reflecting the closeness that had developed over months of dedication. Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment, not from perfection, but from connection, resilience, and the quiet victories that had shaped their daily life. She understood that this journey, though ongoing, was anchored in principles that would carry them through any challenge: empathy, patience, love, and courage. Before bed, Emma whispered to Jake, "We've built something beautiful here. And the best part is, it's only going to grow stronger." He nodded, a soft smile crossing his face, knowing that their blended family was more than a household. It was a living testament to the power of love, intentional care, and commitment. Outside, the night was calm, the stars twinkling as a silent witness to their journey. Emma felt gratitude and hope, knowing that together they could face the future with resilience, joy, and unwavering connection. Every challenge, every small victory, and every shared moment had shaped a family capable of thriving, loving, and evolving. A family where every member felt truly seen, valued, and cherished. Time passed, and the household had settled into a new rhythm, one that was filled with laughter, shared responsibilities, and mutual understanding. Emma noticed how natural the mornings had become. Breakfasts were lively, conversations flowed, and small gestures of kindness had become routine. Mia and Liam, once guarded and hesitant, now welcomed Emma into their lives without reservation. The subtle tension that had marked her early days had almost entirely dissolved, replaced by warmth, trust, and connection. Emma reflected on the journey. She realized that blending families was far more than merging routines or decorating a house together. It was about creating a shared vision for the future, a home where everyone's voice mattered, where love was expressed not just in words, but through attention, patience, and intentional care. Every small victory, a smile, a shared joke, A moment of understanding had contributed to a stronger, more cohesive family. Jake, too, noticed the transformation. He marveled at Mia's confidence, at Liam's joyful energy, and at the way Emma had seamlessly integrated herself into their lives. Together, they had learned that love in a blended family required constant attention, listening, adapting, and celebrating one another's uniqueness. One afternoon, Emma gathered the children for a reflective activity. "Let's imagine what we want our family to look like next year," she said softly. Mia and Liam eagerly suggested ideas: family outings, new holiday traditions, even small acts like reading together every night. Emma guided them in creating a simple family vision board, a representation of their hopes and dreams. She realized that blending families thrived when every member felt empowered to contribute, to co-create their shared life. That evening, they sat together by the fireplace, the warm glow reflecting the closeness that had been nurtured over months. Emma felt a profound sense of fulfillment, not from perfection, but from connection, resilience, and the countless small victories that had defined their journey. She knew challenges would continue, but the foundation they had built, empathy, patience, and love, would carry them forward. As the children drifted to sleep, Emma whispered to Jake, "We've built something strong here, something lasting." He smiled softly, knowing the truth of her words. Outside, the night was calm, stars twinkling silently. Emma felt gratitude, hope, and quiet confidence that together they could face whatever came next. Every shared laughter, every gentle lesson, every moment of trust had woven them into a family that was resilient, connected, and deeply cherished. In that serene moment, Emma understood the ultimate lesson of blending families, that love is not measured in grand gestures or perfect moments, but in the intentional, consistent acts of care that make every day meaningful, every heart valued, and every connection enduring. The household had grown quiet, but the warmth of shared memories lingered in every corner. Emma walked through the living room, glancing at the family photos, the handmade crafts, and the little reminders of laughter, patience, and connection. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for how far they had come, for the bridges built, the trust earned, and the love that now flowed naturally between each member of the family. She reflected on the journey, how Mia and Liam had once tested boundaries and guarded their hearts, and how, through patience, empathy, and gentle guidance, those walls had softened. She thought of Jake, whose quiet support had allowed her to find her place in this family without forcing it. Together, they had learned that blended families were not defined by immediate harmony, but by the willingness to grow, adapt, and show love every single day. Emma knelt beside the fireplace, watching the flickering glow. Family, she whispered to herself, isn't about perfection. It's about connection. It's about showing up, even when it's hard, and choosing love over fear. She realized that the small, consistent acts of care, listening without judgment, encouraging without pressure, sharing moments of joy were what truly held the family together. Later, Jake joined her, taking her hand. "We've come so far," he said softly, "and we're still growing." Emma smiled, feeling the truth of his words. Together, they had nurtured something stronger than mere cohabitation. They had created a home where everyone's voice mattered, where each person felt valued, and where love had space to flourish alongside history. The children's laughter echoed faintly from the bedroom as they prepared for the night. Emma felt a quiet hope that these moments, the shared rituals, the resolved conflicts, the laughter and learning, would continue to shape them for years to come. Blended families, she knew, were not a single story, but an ongoing journey of care, empathy, and commitment. Standing by the window, Emma gazed at the night sky. Stars sparkled overhead, each one a reminder of infinite possibilities of hope and of the beauty that comes from persistence, love, and understanding. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, their family can navigate them together. Every smile, every conversation, every small act of kindness had built something enduring, a home filled with warmth, connection, and hope. As the night deepened, Emma whispered softly to herself, "We've made room for love. We've honored the past, and together we'll continue to grow, laugh, and face the future as a family." And in that stillness, the house seemed to breathe with the quiet satisfaction of a journey well traveled, a love well nurtured, and a family that had truly learned to belong together. The days turned slowly into weeks, and Emma noticed how natural the family had become. The home no longer felt like a place of tension or hesitation. Instead, it radiated warmth, laughter, and quiet confidence. Breakfasts were filled with playful chatter. Evening walks carried lighthearted conversation, and shared moments of creativity and storytelling became treasured routines. Mia and Liam now welcomed Emma's presence fully, often seeking her guidance or simply wanting to include her in their daily adventures. Emma reflected on the lessons that had shaped this transformation. She realized that blending families was not about immediate harmony or flawless interactions. It was about creating a culture of patience, empathy, and consistent care. Every act of listening, every small acknowledgement, every shared moment of joy had strengthened the bonds that connected them. Love, she knew now, was an ongoing practice, not a destination. Jake, observing the children laughing together, felt the same quiet satisfaction. He recognized that the family had not only adapted, but had grown stronger through the process. Each member had learned to communicate, compromise, and appreciate the unique contributions of others. Together, they had built a foundation rooted in trust, respect, and enduring love. One evening, Emma suggested they create a family reflection journal, a space where everyone could record memories, hopes, and lessons learned. Mia eagerly wrote about her favorite holiday traditions and the moments she felt most understood. Liam drew imaginative stories that included every member of the family, including Emma. Even Jake contributed, noting the small, meaningful victories that had brought them closer together. Through this activity, Emma saw the profound importance of reflection in nurturing long-term connection and reinforcing the shared values of love, patience, and understanding. As the family sat together that night, Emma felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey had not been simple or linear, but the progress was undeniable. She understood that blended families thrive not by erasing the past, but by creating space for everyone to grow together, by honoring history while embracing new bonds and shared experiences. Looking out the window at the softly falling snow, Emma whispered a quiet promise to herself and to her family to continue fostering connection, to respond to challenges with patience and empathy, and to cherish the small victories that define family life. She knew that while the journey would always have its ups and downs, the love they had nurtured would provide resilience, comfort, and joy for years to come. And as the night settled over their home, the warmth inside mirrored the growth, trust, and enduring love that now filled every corner. Emma felt gratitude, hope, and quiet assurance. A family had been created. Not perfect, but resilient, connected, and deeply cherished. The house was quiet now, bathed in the soft glow of lamps and the twinkle of holiday lights. Emma sat in her favorite chair, watching the flicker of the fireplace. Outside, snow fell gently, blanketing the world in calm serenity. Inside, the warmth of love, connection, and shared memories filled every corner. She reflected on the journey, the moments of uncertainty, the challenges faced, the breakthroughs celebrated, and the bonds that had been carefully nurtured over time. Emma thought of Mia, confident and expressive now, sharing her thoughts and creativity openly. She thought of Liam, joyful and imaginative, whose trust and openness had grown steadily. And she thought of Jake, whose support, patience, and quiet wisdom had guided them all. Together, they had built more than a household. They had built a family grounded in respect, empathy, and love. She realized that the heart of blended families lies not in grand gestures, but in small, consistent acts of care, listening without judgment, showing empathy in moments of conflict, celebrating each other's unique qualities, and creating shared memories that bind hearts together. Every smile, every hug, every shared laugh had contributed to the tapestry of connection that now defined their home. Emma rose and walked quietly to the children's rooms, checking on Mia and Liam as they slept peacefully. She placed a gentle hand on each of their heads, feeling a surge of gratitude and love. This family, imperfect, evolving, and real, had taught her more about patience, resilience, and the transformative power of love than she could have imagined. Returning to the living room, Emma sat back down with Jake beside her. "We've come so far," he whispered, "and yet the journey continues." She nodded, smiling softly. Yes, the journey would continue with new challenges, new joys, and new moments of growth. But tonight, in this quiet, glowing home, they had everything they needed: love, understanding, and a foundation strong enough to carry them forward. Looking out at the snow, Emma whispered a promise to continue nurturing these bonds, to honor the past while embracing the future, and to cherish every shared moment, big or small. She felt the profound truth of their journey, that families are not defined by history alone, but by the intention, love, and patience poured into their shared lives every day. And in that serene, intimate moment, the house seemed to breathe with contentment, as if acknowledging the care, trust, and connection that had transformed it. Emma closed her eyes, letting gratitude, hope, and quiet joy fill her heart. Together, they had created a home where everyone felt seen, valued, and loved, a family resilient, connected, and ready to face the future with courage and warmth. The camera of imagination pulls back, capturing the home glowing softly in the night, snow drifting peacefully around it, and inside, hearts intertwined. A story of love, patience, and family fully realized.